So those of you who are not familiar with this boy on, I shouldn't have said that, who's not familiar with this guy on the screen, this is Rashad Richey. He hosts Indisputable with Rashad Richey on the Young Turks. And by the way, I don't know if you guys know that, but you can actually get bumper stickers now that says, "Beware, I know Dr. Rashad Richey." I am not joking you. You can order a bumper sticker that says that.
Wow.
But at any rate, he's got a whole bunch of degrees out there. He ranks number 4, according to a guy named Frankie Graham, who, by the way, claims 26 PhDs. So Richie claims numerous PhDs, Juris Doctorates, master's degrees, and you name it, and everything, physics, economics, law, you name it. He's the Renaissance man at everything. But he also seems to think that he knows a lot about Kyle Rittenhouse. So, and he does not like Kyle. So he had something to say about Kyle being at the protests. You guys ready for this?
Yep.
I'm clenching my butt cheek.
Since we're all talking about the Second Amendment, can I ask you something about the First Amendment? Of course. Okay, so the founder and CEO of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk, has said a lot of racist things.
Like what racist thing has Charlie Kirk said? We're gonna have a little bit of a dialogue about what racist things has Charlie Kirk said.
Okay, I'll answer the question of racist things he said. He says we shouldn't celebrate Juneteenth. We shouldn't celebrate Martin Luther King Day. We should be working those days. He's called Ketanji Brown Jackson an affirmative action hire. He's tells nonsense about George Floyd. And he said he'd be scared if a black pilot was on a plane. Does that not seem racist?
I don't know anything about that.
Okay, well, after all the things I just told you, would you consider that hate speech?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Okay, before Rashad weighs in here, Kyle, that's not how you handle that. You're not there to talk about Charlie Kirk.
What? Kyle did just fine. It was that idiot that was asking the questions.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
you can't get sucked into that. And he did. And is this a lesson learned? The guy asked about Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, I mean, I'm Kyle Rittenhouse. If you want to ask Charlie Kirk about his views, I might be able to get him up to the stage. I don't know. Oh, he's not here. Whatever. But I'm not here to talk about Charlie. And you can't sit there and try to defend Charlie Kirk.
Yep.
And
no, you're right, Johnny. Especially because
I thought you were
Kyle,
about to say you're right, Kayla.
No, I'm sorry. Johnny's right on this one. And the reason why he's right is not because Kyle, like, I get, like, on face value, it's not necessarily wrong, but like when you're being a public speaker, being confronted by the audience, like, as the person on stage, you have to maintain power over the crowd. And in order to do that, like when people give you hostile questions like that, you have to answer the questions in ways that you can legitimately respond to. And I don't think Kyle, like, he's not Ben Shapiro that has the wit to come back on him on every single little point he made about things that Kyle could not possibly be an expert in. So the best thing he could have done is, I'm not here to talk about what Charlie Kirk said. I'm here to talk about what happened to me and things I've said.
Yeah, but the time limit, though.
The
time limit.
Well, that would have saved time.
Yeah.
He could have just said, look, I'm not here to talk about Charlie Kirk. Hey, I tell you what, TPUSA might have his schedule of appearances. That'd be a good time to find him and ask him your questions.
Yeah.
Don't go in there saying, well, I don't know he said those things. You know,
no, like, Kayla, I completely get it. What you're saying, I actually completely get.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I completely get it, because, like, initially you want to respond to that, right? Like, you would want to respond to that, but when I'm looking at, like, the idea of, like, making a political appearance or even a public appearance on a political topic, you've got to be a little bit more careful, and you don't want to step outside of what you can actually speak to. And Kyle most certainly cannot speak to what Charlie Kirk has said.
Yeah.
Kyle just doesn't have enough experience yet. He's just too new.
Yeah, maybe 10 years from now, if he keeps on this track, he would have absorbed enough information to respond to that properly, but he couldn't do it now.
Yeah, because this is like his first speaking.
I would like to see
At a
Kyle
school.
like with Ben Shapiro. That would be
Mhm.
that would be cool.
Well, the other thing is you could say, hey, this is an institute. This is an institute of higher education. And you have a speaker here and you're asking that speaker about somebody else. Come on. I mean, this is a college. Let's start, asking questions and debating like people who go to college.
Well, yeah, but the guy that got in front of the microphone talking to Kyle, he wasn't looking to do that. He was looking to ask loaded questions to score points.
No, he was looking to be mean and bully him.
Well, I don't know if he was there to bully. I think that he thought he had lined up a really good question that was going to knock Kyle on his back. That's his right. We would do the same thing, right? He thought he had Kyle hooked, and Kyle unfortunately did get hooked.
No, he didn't.
He wasn't ready for it. But
I don't think his answer was the worst or whatever. It wasn't.
Yeah.
There were so many opportunities with all the loaded things. It was the BS from Floyd. I could have went through every single thing he said and gave a response to be okay, go through. Some of them were about affirmative action, right? And just say now, okay, so if you support affirmative action, I can say you actually at this point don't think that Black people can get jobs based on their own merits. Okay. Next question. I'm not that racist. And then just go down the list. And then whenever he said and all the PS he said about Floyd, I was okay, now specify, right? PS about Floyd, I can't respond to.
Yeah, but the time limit though, I said.
No, you respond to a person like that, they're not going to have answers.
Well, but keep in mind, it's also easy to get deflected on with that stuff. Pretty soon you're talking about George Floyd. And we're here to talk about me, my story. And I know that you may not want to hear that. Well, then why are you here? Leave if you don't want to hear what I have to say. But whatever. Let's go ahead and move on. He'll learn. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle, you did say we're going to have an open dialogue here with millions.
Yeah, we're going to have an open dialogue. Doesn't mean that you have to put up with everybody's shit, Rashad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And here he's going to beg for money, so I'm going to skip through this.
Watching 1%.
We shouldn't celebrate Martin Luther King Day. We should be working those days. It's called Ketanji Brown Jackson, an affirmative action hire. He's talked nonsense about George Floyd. He
said a whole bunch of nonsense about George Floyd. Really? That's what you came prepared with? But here's the thing, though. You don't know what Charlie Kirk really said.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're relying on these guys to feed you, and they're not going to be accurate. So don't go down this path. And Kyle, I mean, he certainly could have done a lot worse by trying to debate this guy. But to say, well, I didn't know that Charlie Kirk said those things. That was probably not the thing to say. But I mean, debating this person would have been really bad, because first of all, they would have drowned him out anyway, even if he had a good point. Okay, let's move on.
And he said he'd be scared if a Black pilot was on a plane. Does that not seem racist?
I don't know.
And by the way, I can say that Charlie Kirk did say something like that, but he was talking about DEI, and that he said that he would be worried if he felt that the pilot was hired because of that. But this is how the people in line
turn it around,
twist this around a little bit. And unless you're really well versed, you don't want to go there. And to Kyle's credit, he didn't try to debate the guy, but he could have done a lot better than trying to feign ignorance.
Yeah, I mean, I consider myself fairly well versed on a lot of this stuff, but I would, in some of these instances, have a hard time. Right? Like it would be very easy for somebody to get in line if I was sitting there ranting just on the things I know and come up with something that would completely derail me.
Anything about that?
Then answer no. Does that seem racist? Is a yes or no question, Kyle? After all the things I just told you, would you consider that hate speech?
That's a yes or no question, Kyle. I'll answer the questions how I want to answer them. You don't like it, leave.
Well, yeah, he was that. I didn't like that guy answering or asking the questions because he was not being very nice.
Well, I think it was somebody else that was yelling, "Hey, that's a yes or no question."
Well, they weren't nice either. All of them were
It's
nice.
a loaded question, as you mentioned, and also it really, well, by the very fact that it's a loaded question, you have to accept the premise of the questioner. But no, I don't have to do that. I'm sorry, no. I'm going to answer the questions how I want to answer it, and if you don't like it, that's just tough. It's my speech, but
I'm not going to comment on that.
Deflection!
that's not deflection. Dummy.
No, that all of them deflect every single fucking day. Sorry for the language, but they do.
Yeah.
Truth.
Deflection! Yeah!
Oh, did you see the way that he hung that dog? It's amazing the dog's still alive. The way that Kyle basically almost tore his head off. Jeez. He had to listen to that crap for a while.
I know.
You ever see a dog how it carries its pups around?
Meanwhile, everybody complaining has a dog, and they're sitting there like they just can't keep the dog from trying to like run off while they have them on a leash, and they're constantly choking the dog back.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah! Yeah!
This guy needs to shut up.
Yeah, annoying.
Now look at him. Oh, he's so
I know.
proud.
I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was all over.
Oh, it was all over. Big deal. You know, like he just went to another campus to speak. You didn't gain anything there, Rashad.
Put up the picture full mass. Charlie Kirk, you must be disappointed in your mentee. Sir, you saying that you would be afraid of having a black pilot, sir? I would be afraid of having that hairstyle.
I'd be afraid of having you as the pilot there, Rashad. Really afraid. Because you know what? I'd be looking at that pilot certificate and going like, wait, where did he get this? Nicaragua? What?
Dude, accidentally, like Rashad Richey accidentally like just showing this picture and what he was talking about made me think it's like on Kyle's speaking tour with TPUSA, like Charlie Kirk should it should be one of those things where they have both people sitting on a chair, and like, yes, Kyle's driving it, but you have the bigger person in the room to deal with all the other nonsense. Like he needs a shield in his speeches. Like he shouldn't be out there by himself. He doesn't know enough.
Yeah.
He's not smart enough. He's too young. Like if you're going to drag him out there in front of the public in order to answer all these questions, and knowing that he's going to have to like get approached with things that are just well beyond the scope of what Kyle could ever answer, like they should give him some support.
In other words, it's going to be like on a panel.
Yep.
You know, a panel. So you question the panel about this and let Kyle dive in when he wants to. By the way, he did pretty well at WKU. I listened to the entire speech. It was really hard to hear because TPUSA didn't do exactly a good job on the audio, But Kyle, believe it or not, did pretty well. He handled the question answer session pretty good. I have a video on it, by the way. He did kind of shoot back a sarcastic comment at one of the questioners. I thought that was out of line, and I'll be honest. I really think that the audience should not have encouraged that. But overall, other than that, he did pretty well. This event here that Rashad's talking about was not so good.
Yeah. I
So we said it this week. Sharon Reed and I commented on the reality of Kyle Rittenhouse being qualified to be a lecturer at universities because he traveled across state lines and killed people or killed.
He's more.
Oh
than
my
you
God.
are.
Hold on. Richey just hit a home run right there. It's the home run that none of us have ever been able to fix or correct about the issues with the Kyle Rittenhouse story. Is that Kyle Rittenhouse crossed state lines.
How dare he?
He just hit the biggest point. We have no defense for that.
I mean, you could ask Kyle, did you cross state lines? And I bet you've been crossing state lines even after.
Yeah, he admitted he was guilty of that.
Yeah.
Killed a person or tried to kill others. I guess that's qualification these days. But because student organizations have invited him, really by way of Turning Point USA, they have amazing authority to express their freedom of speech, even if it offends. This is relatively routine on.
Yeah, they have the authority to express their views on a college campus. Oh my God. That damn TPUSA and their freedom of speech. Ugh. But listen up.
University campuses. And I reminded the students that if you cannot stop by way of petition this individual from coming to your school.
Note that he's not telling them, his viewers, hey, look, if the guy wants to come on campus, you let him speak, he'll leave. It's all about free speech. He doesn't say that. He's lamenting the fact that the petitions haven't worked. Okay, but listen on.
Simply exercise your equally protected freedom of speech as well. Here it is. Students, you have freedom of speech too. Those that oppose Rittenhouse, the same freedom that he has to say what he wants to say on your campus, you have that same freedom.
Right. I mean, those who protest have absolutely the right to speak, don't they?
Or have a counter event at the same time where you speak about why you don't like Kyle Rittenhouse. It's fine.
You talk when he's talking.
You missed it. Hang on.
Freedom wants to say you have freedom of speech too. Those that oppose Rittenhouse, the same freedom that he has to say what he wants to say on your campus, you have that same freedom. How about you talk when he's talking?
What's he saying? Talk while he's talking. Drown him out.
A heckler's veto, which is actually the opposite of free speech.
Yeah. Exactly. This is the guy who's supposed to be a lawyer, or he's trying to be a lawyer.
Yeah, this is like a court, like this is actually like a Supreme Court thing too, right? The heckler's veto cannot stop somebody from speaking. It just because somebody is saying things and other people say they might get violent about it because they don't like what they're saying, it does not stop. Like that does not in any way impede the free speech rights of the person that wants to speak. You have to let him speak, and the people that are being hecklers, those are the people that the law comes down on, not the speaker.
Well, keep in mind, though, the heckler's veto is about the police interfering to stop a person from speaking because they're afraid of violence. He's talking about basically talking over the person so that the other, hang on. He's wanting them to talk over him so that the people that want to hear Kyle can't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they're both hecklers, like trying to be hecklers vetoes, right? You talk over them so the people, because I think I'm sure you of all people know that just as I have a right to say something, other people have the right to hear me. Like that is part of free speech law.
Well, for example, I can't come in with an artificial noisemaker, drown out a speaker, and then say, well, I'm using my freedom of speech. Yeah, but you're denying the other person his.
Correct.
Yep.
And everybody in the audience the right to hear what the person has to say, which I think is also very important, and I think is left out of a lot of conversations about free speech.
Hang on a second. I wanted I found something that was of interest. Oh, and I'll tell you what the story was. I had it opened here. There was a famous case where a person showed up and was trying to give a speech, and a mob showed up and effectively drowned him out. The speaker was Frederick Douglass, and he was trying to talk about the evils of slavery. Those that drowned him out was a mob composed of pro-slavers. And keep in mind, Rashad is saying, well, what those pro-slavery people was doing was perfectly okay. I mean, this is just so asinine. Like, let him speak. But if you prevent him from being able to get his message out, you're denying him his right to free speech. Kyle was invited there by a campus organization. He has the right and the permission to speak there. It's his audience, and he's rented that auditorium for his use. For you to go in there and prevent him from being able to speak is a violation of his freedom of speech.
First Amendment, yeah.
I wouldn't even say First Amendment. I would just say it's a violation of freedom of speech, because the First Amendment refers to like the government stopping you from being able to speak, right? But this is freedom of speech is broader than that. And I can't believe that a person who claims to be tied in with the whole legal deal doesn't see the evil in doing something like that. But then again, I know why, because this dude is one of the most racist people you're going to find.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Freedom of speech. All right, sharing thoughts here.
Well, it's by design.
By the way, what we have now here is dumber and more boring.
Turning point, and I'd say the Republicans in Congress too. Another one that they can put some lighter fluid on, stoke another cultural fire, if you will. This war. It's why the Republicans introduced the Respecting the First Amendment on Campus Act.
Ooh, that protecting the First Amendment on campus. Oh my God, those Republicans. Okay, I'm reading a private chat here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, you don't have to.
Okay.
That was just me pointing something out. But
okay, I'll catch it later.
Yeah. All right, let's put it up again. So per Newsweek, Kyle Rittenhouse stormed off stage. He was kind of told to leave by, it looked to be one of the organizers, because the organizer had, well, let's just say mercy, and got Kyle Rittenhouse out of there. So he storms off stage during an appearance at the University of Memphis on Wednesday after he was confronted about comments made by Turning Point USA founder and president Charlie Kirk. Turning Point USA is the leading organization basically footing the bill for Kyle Rittenhouse to do this tour. Rittenhouse was invited by the college's Turning Point USA chapter to speak at the campus. However, the event was met with backlash from a number of students who objected to his presence. And I must say, the students were actually quite respectful. Those who disagreed with Kyle Rittenhouse, they waited for an opportunity at Q&A.
Well, wait a minute. I thought that you were encouraging them to drown out the speaker, but now he's glowing about their respectability, how respectful they were.
They weren't respectful. On that speech, Kyle only spoke for 2 minutes and then he rolled into Q&A because they weren't listening to him.
And what did he mean by the organizer had mercy?
He thought the person that, asked him to leave was the organizer. It was like his 30-minute was up and, they said, it's time's up, it's time to go, Kyle. So he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just thinking.
Yeah, he's implying that he should have been harsher on him, or I don't know. He's lucky he didn't hit him.
They polled.
Or whatever.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that?
Somebody was saying something. And
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sean,
are you there?
What? No, if I was trying to say anything, it was accidentally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have nothing to say.
Posed their questions, and I
it was
must
the
say to the
video.
young brother,
I'm sorry?
It was the video. I think it was
okay.
the video. Sorry, I was on another tab.
That's fine.
who obviously has a bright future and is a true scholar, when he posed the question,
Wait, what?
and Charlie with Kyle Rittenhouse, they waited for an opportunity at Q&A. They posed their questions, and I must say to the young brother who obviously has a bright future and is a true scholar, when
Oh my God.
How do you know?
You mean the Antifa person?
Oh my God.
I mean, look, I'm not saying he doesn't, but based on what? Because he went there and shot off some questions at Kyle about Charlie Kirk. He's obviously a scholar.
I know.
They're working with Antifa.
when he posed the question, and Charlie Kirk, and Rittenhouse, Charlie Kirk's, mentee, he decided to say, well, what has Charlie Kirk said? Oh, okay. That's the game we want to play.
Well, no, that's not a game. It might have been a legitimate question.
So the college student proceeded to provide an answer because they're having an open dialogue. And when he provided the answer, as you can clearly see, Rittenhouse says, I don't know nothing about that.
That's because the questions weren't about Kyle. They were about somebody else. Oh my God. You guys want to listen more of this?
No.
Okay.
I know exactly what Rashad Richey is trying to be. He wants it's what I talked about earlier. He wanted Kyle Rittenhouse to be able to give a Ben Shapiro level answer to this person, and there's no way Kyle was ever going to be able to do that. Not
yeah,
now.
he can. Yeah, I know.
Maybe 10 years from now, but not now.
This is the same guy who thought the quote-unquote bike Karen was guilty.
Oh yeah,
Well, worse than
Rashad
that,
Richey
though.
has to say anyway because he's a
But
fraud.
worse than that. He's the one that told everybody where she was working and when she got off work. He basically doxed her, then had to go on about a week later and admit that he got it all wrong. Then he turned around and went back on his original topic. He is the one, I am almost certain, Anna Kasparian complained about when she said that there was a rogue person on our TYT team that tends to shoot his mouth off.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder who that is. I think it's going to take less than 3 years for Anna Kasparian to go independent.
Yeah, she probably needs to.
Just the things that's been happening and the people she's been talking to and becoming. She's starting to have an affinity for certain people, like Actual Justice Warrior. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a person he's certainly right wing or whatever. He was always just made fun of Anna, but also he encouraged her because he was like, I just keep seeing Anna Kasparian slowly getting smarter and smarter. Yeah, I think it's going to take about 3 years. She's going to go independent. She's going to be more like a Megyn Kelly type, who you really couldn't necessarily put her in a position exactly where she fits in on the culture war or whatever. But she's going to do her own podcast where she can just be honest. Who wants to take that bet against me? 3 years, Anna Kasparian, no longer Young Turks, and independent.
By the way, let me go ahead and finish off this session here because it's getting late, guys. Here is the quote I was talking about. In December 1860, Frederick Douglass and a group of abolitionists assembled at a public meeting hall in Boston to discuss how to abolish slavery. No sooner had the meeting begun than it was overtaken by a pro slavery mob. The police did nothing to prevent the heckling and disruption, and the meeting was eventually shut down. A few days later, Douglass gave an impassioned defense of free speech. To suppress free speech is a double wrong. It violates the rights of the hearer as well as those of the speaker. Okay.
Oh my
so
God! Didn't I just say that?
you're like Frederick Douglass, man.
No. Like I said that before you read this, though. Like about free speech,
Yeah.
about the right of the person to hear it, which is, I think it's way more important than a lot of people even think about.
I'll put the actual link in the description. So this is a good thing to snip and post in response to people who claim that, hey, well, it's our free speech too. We can just talk really loud, and so where that nobody can hear it because we have free speech. Well, no, we really don't. It doesn't cover it.
Yeah, it's not. If you actually read about what the Enlightenment philosophers talked about with free speech, you would realize it completely goes against the concept. The idea that you can just speak over somebody. That's not what free speech means. In fact,
Okay.
even the legal protection of free speech, it's not actually talking about the principle of free speech. They are two different things.
Mhm.
And law aside, why not just let him speak? Let those who want to hear him, and just go about your business.
Yeah, why are you there if you don't like them?
That's how that's what it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to work.
Yes.
I remember it was was it? Oh, those two guys who used to do review movies, and there was this horrible movie out that was really violent, and one of them said, "Movies like this should be produced, and they should not be watched." Which is along here, like you invite the person and let those who want to watch, and maybe hope that nobody shows up. Okay, I have no problem with that. But you by scaring them away using threats of violence and then shouting down, that's not exactly organic. Any
That's not
final
free speech.
yeah. Any final comments? How about you, Allie? Anything you want to say as we leave?
Well, it does say in regards to if you Google limits to free speech, while the First Amendment protects most speech, it's not free to pass to threaten, harass, or otherwise violate the other's rights.
Thank you, Allie. Absolutely.
All right, Kayla, your turn, I
100%.
guess.
What pretty much what she just said, and I'm just saying, I think we all need to do a shot on here. Yes.
Hold on. I actually think I have. Yep, I do.
Well, I have a whole 2-liter of Coke Zero.
Can you give me just a quick second?
Yeah, I'm just saying I have a whole 2-liter of Coke Zero. Well, actually, a half of one now.
Okay, well,
McCormick's vodka, which is like the cheapest liquor you can buy where I live, but
I remember no. I remember the what was that really kamchatka or
I'll be right back.
kamchatka that I used to drink when I was like 19. Oh.
yeah, Johnny's gonna go find his Evan Williams.
Yeah, I had
I'm gonna
drink
go find
that.
something too.
Oh, you're getting something too?
we're all finishing the night with a shot. Yeah, everybody in chat, I encourage you to join us, man. Just pull one back for all the BS. The fact
10
that we're
years
still
ago.
talking about Kyle Rittenhouse.
10 years ago, I might have it would have been a different kind of shot. But yeah.
I just drank a whole bottle of root beer, so.
Whoa, man, you're all effed up on root beer. That's crazy.
I still have a bottle of Coke.
You're about to come at me with like a spider monkey, right?
That's fine.
Sorry, that was a Talladega Nights reference.
I haven't seen that movie in like 2 years. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a part where like the kids were like, because like the kids were completely unruly and they were just like, I'm gonna drink a whole bunch of Mountain Dew and come at you like a spider monkey.
Oh God.
I'm not a movie buff, sorry.
I'm not. That's not one of
I'm
my
not a movie buff
favorites.
either.
That's not one of my favorites with them in it. That it annoys me.
I actually don't think it's a great movie. I just thought that was one great scene.
Okay, you guys ready?
What is that,
trust,
Allie?
Trust me, I'm holding up a shot.
What is that?
Star Wars. Hold on.
No,
Gotta
no,
go
no.
downstairs
What's
and
in
get
it?
Oh,
Cool.
it's
Hold on.
root beer.
Oh, I got my laptop here,
Cheers.
so just give me 1 second.
Did you
I'll tell
already
you
take?
what, this stuff, man, the Koval.
I'm sorry, my Coke. It's in the fridge.
I was completely wrong. I thought you were just gonna like bring your bottle of Evan Williams over.
No.
That's
Koval,
not fair.
man.
We're
You actually
supposed
went
to
for the good stuff.